Hi guys, it is Taurus season, so it seems to be very appropriate to use this Earth Magic deck. So we are going to have that assist us in the readings. So before we just jump into your readings, just to let you know that I still have the promotions, speed up promotion, meaning you get one level up. So you sign up for a regular reading, you get a rush reading, you sign up for rush, you get urgent, and you sign up for urgent, you get it before you finish typing. Not kidding, you get it in 24 hours. So just go on cattarot.ca and find basically where I have this special list is listed under book your reading. Now, second thing I have, annual taroscopes are still discounted, and like it's only $10 for one sign or $20 for all of the signs. So you can check your Venus sign, you can check your ascendant, you can check your sun sign. I generally like to lurk on the other people's Mars signs to see kind of like how that's going to work out. And lastly, I'm taking applications for the next round of Tarot School, which is starting May the 15th. The first group is running, and I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, such a kind of or Instagram or both, so you get a daily reading, or it's not going to be like a little bit kind of learn about as I initially thought. And 11. I think this is enough for me. So and the next is that's it for my announcement. So guys, hopefully. Hi Virgo, and welcome to your May Tarot Monthly. So you got Volcano, you got Eagle, and you got New Moon. And here I have Isolation and Adventure. So it's kind of like really, really interesting. So shall we start? Let's start with this Volcano. It's talking about volatility, right? So it is like definitely the unpredictable nature of volcano and eruptions that sort of like we still cannot figure it out in spite of all the scientific basically development and evidence, and whether the eruptions are just like tiny little bubbly. I was like one day sitting on live watching the volcano. It was just like a smoke, and it literally, it's almost like threatening with the earth, basically vomiting fire, right? And it changes. Basically, it's never the same. So I think May, and we are going through a transit of your sister Earth sign, Taurus. But this is going to be volatile time for you, and unexpected changes, and sometimes might be even quite sudden and quite dramatic. This almost like reminds me of the Tower in tarot, right? That could be something that will be occurring without you even being able to control it, right? And it might actually cause you to kind of like have a different direction, or to at least reassess the direction your life is taking, right? So this is like basically time when we question some of our relationships, maybe evaluating the work that we are choosing, etc., etc. Now, even though maybe the events can literally rock your world, keep in mind that, you know, there is a reason behind that, right? So the spirit is asking you to make adjustments, right? Maybe quickly, and not to kind of cling to things that, you know, you had. Instead, kind of like move forward, right? And I really think that it's kind of like good, because I'm going to get to this. It's almost like the same situation. It looks like we'll have two levels of Virgo. Some of them it will literally kind of like need to just do the first breakthrough, and others that are already ready to come out. And then we are having this card of Eagle, one of my favorite cards in this deck, where, you know, like the eagle and human are making this eye contact. Whether this is a real eagle or spirit eagle doesn't really matter, because eagle or spirit eagle is often associated with the highest and noblest, right? And it's kind of like encouraging us for our spirits to soar, right? And it's almost like feeling I can touch the sky kind of a thing, right? I think, you know, that you guys you're being called to kind of like come in touch with possibly some kind of like physical expression of life, plants, animals, humans, right? That kind of like you feel how your life force is kind of like similar to the other ones and things that are around you. It's kind of like just a different form if you think about it, right? Even if this kind of like only means watching just the other humans around you who have maybe different shapes, who have different backgrounds, who have kind of like different things, different kind of building blocks that brought them to where they are, and just like observe. This is almost like essential when this card shows up, right? And especially to my American friends, because eagle is basically the representation of the US, and it's almost like telling you, look up, connect. It is like absolutely asking you to connect. I think your country is going through almost like a rift, and I'm not saying that you Virgos are like now responsible for everybody. I'm just like saying that there is like much bigger message, and maybe, no, you're definitely not responsible, but maybe you will be the leaders in the process, right? Because you guys kind of like have a balanced approach to everything, right? This is kind of like asking you to kind of take some time to kind of like be open-minded and kind of like do things and kind of like understand maybe different level of communication. This is a really big call. That's what I said to you right away. You have been called upon to do something really, really big this month, which kind of is very weird. There are lots of Virgos in the Trump administration. This is going to be interesting to watch. I'm going to put a note for myself. And then it definitely looks like 3 stages. Something being pushed out, something that you no longer tolerate, or something is going to kind of like shake up and shape up your life to kind of like get further. And then it's going to be simply just the understanding. You know, like when you look at someone and you think, and you put yourself in a situation saying, okay, if this happened to me, and it's sometimes hard because we, of course, I don't know, I would keep doing what I was doing. Just try to say, instead of what happened to me, why did it happen to my enter, the father, the mother, the child? And then you're going to be able to actually see that situation better. Because you're getting this new moon card, and there is like basically this process of something new, launching a project. That's what I was telling you. These two things are extremely powerful, right? It's like full cycle, something completing, right? I don't know, what is your desire? What do you guys want to manifest? Here we have a new moon. So this for you will be getting like something happening mid-May, sort of a thing. Something is going to emerge from the darkness, right? Something is going to, something maybe was on a back burner, maybe in your subconscious mind, and maybe it is like right now time to kind of like pull it out. because this is commitment, and sorry, the promise is like sort of like either a commitment or to ourselves or to somebody else, or kind of like knowing that something will happen. You know, I promise you, you will go to jail, right? So it has like these two meanings that I can think of, right? So it is basically asking you that your will be aligned with, I think, will of the spirit. And maybe this is why certain things are going to come crashing down, which might not feel, let's say, it might feel fiery for some, but not for the others. Why do I say that? Because you have volcano. Because there is also this card of isolation. And I don't know, I have to, let me zoom it in so you can actually see the card. Look at this ice. How to break from this ice. So we see this tears. Kind of like a very colorful, really, if you really think about it. And zoom. So what's basically happening here? I think the tears are the key to what we have to understand over here. That sometimes tears are the ones that are taking us out of that prison. It is isolation. Maybe you guys isolated yourself. Maybe it served a purpose, but it also kind of created that ice wall. Tears are needed to be shed. And guess what? Guess what he's doing with his tears? He is actually melting the ice. So guys, if you need to, it's okay to cry. And there is no reason to feel ashamed of your tears. Crying is made purposely there because it helps us to let go of pain and allows us to be basically gentle with ourselves, and finally being able to heal. So just like you had it over here, you have the adventure card showing up. So here I can definitely see these like 3 stages, right? And certain things need to come out, whether the anger or the tears. It kind of like you maybe bottle up something, and that kind of like doesn't surprise me with Virgo because you're very organized, very functional. But you guys are going to really have the nice ending of this month, right? Because look at that, what a beautiful kind of like even image to look. Both of them feature this like, I mean, rainbow colors, right? And it's some kind of like wonder that I see in both of them. And one is obviously called promise, another one is called adventure. So maybe it is a time for you to kind of like shed your skin because you have outgrown your kind of things. Because you're getting here this page of rainbows, right? Which kind of represents quality that can come to us anywhere, right? Sort of like whether you're home in the city, like in the middle of the jungle, right? And it usually kind of refers to, you know, that we are moving into the new and now and unknown with sort of like trusting of a child. You know, like, you know, like how some, like, I mean, we wonder, we kind of like want to prevent a child of coming to the ledge, but this is like kind of like where even the smallest things can actually create the biggest actually steps forward. So it is basically asking you to investigate where, in which direction you want to go. There's definitely at the very least asking of you to set your intentions, so these things can actually finally finalize and kind of like stay out of your life. It's a cycle, like nothing to really worry. So let's see what else. Ooh, we have 8 of C. It's a little bit different in this deck. In here in this deck, kind of like we see the kitty listening to the shell, listening to the distant kind of call and wondering, hey, do I really have everything I need, or is something escaping me? It's usually the card that makes us go out, branch out, try out. You know, bungee jumping. I personally would never do it, but I don't know, like maybe, you know, it's kind of like getting out there and trying to figure out what else would please you. This doesn't mean not coming back, or even the realization that something else is not for us is the realization. It's a very important thing, because then you get to be more satisfied with things that are already existing. This is crossed with the Chariot. Holy smoke. This is going to be a big motion forward. So literally, these two cards can also talk about literal travel. It can talk about travel specifically by car, and something developing in a really fast-paced way, right? This kind of like generally talks about this exploration. Maybe this is what it is. Maybe like this, some situation would take place which would kind of like come to you saying, you know what, maybe I have to get out of some situations that have been like, I mean, present or persistent in your life, and there is a time to kind of like move forward. This also talks about sometimes that we kind of like think in terms of black and white, and that we don't really look for the solution that are in the gray area. And we have to understand that really nothing is perfect, and we kind of have to be able to accommodate, you know, ourselves, because that flexibility is the key. Our body is by default flexible. The more we are exposed to basically crap, the more it will adapt, right? That's the whole principle. And, you know, this is like even why vaccines exist, because they give you a little bit of that kind of toxic or infectious matter in it, and the theory is like it's going to create antibodies to kind of like prevent this of happening, right? Because body's going to think, being fooled into thinking, I had it, I don't need to go through this again, right? But mine has very kind of like similar adaptation system, where we actually don't adapt as quickly like mentally. We can be very rigid mentally, where we kind of carry this burden of families, we carry burdens of our upbringing, right? And it is what it is. My family always did it. Lannister always pays his debts. Kind of like that kind of stuff can actually really hold us back without us realizing this at all. And then you have a Nine of Earth. So you guys are actually, I think, okay job-wise. You're going to feel content. You're going to actually probably be doing decorating this month, like creating your own nook, because look at the kitty finding the spot and saying, I'm not going out, I'm just fine here where I am, thank you very much. And this is basically telling me about comfort. Nines are really important, and this is also relating to your card, the Hermit, because you are the sign of wisdom, and the wisdom is in the small details, and the wisdom comes from the inside, right? And this is like understanding of what creates comfort and what creates discomfort. So the past has been something maybe that had to be let go of. This, especially the combination, can indicate that there was a situation that had severe interference, whether it was a third party or it was some kind of impossibility. Maybe something didn't happen. But it looks to me that some of you here are actually single and really actually enjoying, and you would need to enjoy this kind of like whole situation. And this is kind of like probably the best for you. And then go and explore what makes you happy. Kind of like make sort of like educated choices if you wish. And there we go, whole so now we have two of them. Definitely something will rock your world. The Tower is talking about the beliefs that are outdated, right? Women belong to the kitchen and men bring the bread home doesn't work anymore. Whatever is the belief, big or small, it doesn't have to be big. Like whenever people see this card, they talk about it's like huge shocking events. It could be shocking. It could be just something that shocks you, something that you set up. Like some belief of yours that you kind of like figure out, okay, why do I have to drink 8 glasses of water? Why don't I just drink when I'm thirsty? And make sure that my diet is okay. Kind of like sometimes you catch yourself repeating the things over and over and over, like people are saying 70% or 60%, doesn't matter, of body is water. No, it isn't. It's actually exactly 0%, because blood is not water, from what I know, from what I've studied, right? So just because it's liquid, we just cannot pile it there. So it's kind of like catching yourself in something that seemed to be so self-evident, and it's like almost looking at it with completely different eyes. And then you have 7 of fire. Interestingly that you have like now 2 sevens, and this is now telling me about the boundaries. This is again calling back this card. Remember how I said be very careful, find a gray situation, because you might be giving up on certain things. Maybe you will go in direction and collapse. It's good. It's good. These 2 cards are the same vibration. This one is just much higher vibration. This is actually telling you go and do it. You know, for example, we want to protect our kids from messing up. Don't go there, don't touch it, you're going to scratch yourself. But sometimes the act of doing it teaches them so much more. I'm not telling you to tell them to kind of jump down the precipice. You know what I mean, right? Sometimes this self-exploration is really kind of like beneficial. For example, I have custom-made silk drapes in my bedroom, and I was like so proud that I saved so much money to actually do that. And then I adopted Sophie, and Siamese cats in particular are big climbers. So if in the morning I didn't wake up at the time she wanted me to, she would just like go and climb up. It's one of those kind of like rough silk kind of stuff, natural ones. Still, your claws are claws, because I noticed what they did, what she did in particular to my blinds in a living room when she was a kitten. So I would quickly jump out of bed, and she would just like calmly come down. And that was going on for years. She's like 5 now. She started doing that when she was a kitten. So, a few months back, or maybe even a month back, she got caught in the frills. And I don't know how she managed to do that, but like her whole paw was twisted. It was like hurting. I was trying to remove it, and she was biting me because she was in pain. So I managed to unstuck her. She was not harmed. But guess what? She's not climbing anymore. So me yelling, no Sophie, stop Sophie, bad girl, didn't work at all, because the end result was I would get up and I would feed her. So now it was something else that kind of like show her what happens. So sort of like learning on your own skin kind of a thing. So it is almost asking you to learn something, that something will be very beneficial to you, where maybe you will really not insist on your own rights, etc., because you might kind of start seeing things from a different standpoint. I really don't think that you will be going in any kind of like relationship this month. It looks like, hey, no, I checked out, not available, just go right straight to my voicemail. It looks like a really kind of strong indication that you want to kind of like enjoy the month of your own, on your own, and kind of go out and try different things. It almost looks like you're going to be really happy with, you know, like, I mean, also the Chariot is like the forceful kind of like things forward. Almost like when you wake up and you are late for work and then you quickly go. But for you, this is really going to be very spiritual. So in the environment, you have 5 of fire. It's kind of really interesting, because like every 3, 5, and 7, all of them are actually very unstable. And 5 of fire is about boundaries. I think this was the key. I think you guys maybe had issues either with your own or with other people boundaries. So this is, it could be, doesn't have to be, issues with codependency, where you keep being attracted to something or someone, and you know it's toxic, you know I shouldn't be using drugs, but you still do it anyway. It's almost like an addiction, but it's an addiction to emotion, which some people manifest through use of alcohol, to drugs, and some people manifest through using relationships. And since this is an environment, something like that is coming to you to challenge you, because I think this is probably what you are working on. This ego is like your own spirit. Maybe somebody completely stepped on your spirit, and They will hear it. And it's going to be hard because codependency is hard. This is like withdrawal and you're like crying and screaming. Frankly, this is really looking like that. This is like a huge major detox this month. Yes, exactly. And then you have the sun. You have new moon and you have the sun. Guys, this cannot be better. The sun is like so well represented in this deck. Look, basking in the sun. Some people on the outskirts, some people on a kind of like really arm's length. So who is in your circle of friends? Who is just allowed to view you from a side? And who you're going to accept as they are, but you're still not going to let them come through? And who is your God? What is that you value? Sun is a very optimistic card. So after all of this basically crap that you are going through, looks like this is like you're being rewarded. You are literally charging and like going in a new direction. So let's see where this is going. Well, it's a kind of anxiety card. It's kind of like a whole bunch of stuff popping up, or I call it wash machine brain, like, you know, and you just cannot cut the cycle, because we see the cycle over here, we see the cycle over here, and it's another 9. You guys are definitely going through the cleanse. This is like, I mean, dry cleaning for the soul that you're doing this month. And it is like purposely done, because you're supposed to start something else. So whenever you start something else, let's say you're cleaning the glass that has maybe half of the gunk in it, like initially it's going to be just more of a gunk until it starts to come out. And so some stuff will be still coming out, and maybe this is also why we have a volcano card over here. Oh boy, this is a super long reading, sorry about that. But I want to see, of course, the Tower, to see if it's going to give me any indication. So we have Merchant reversed and Constancy. So it is about establishing some kind of distance. And I actually seen, like, in this uneven cards, they kind of like talk about the same thing. And this is probably music to your ears. Slow and steady wins the race. Because look, she has the what do you call it, kind of building blocks over here. So it's kind of like something that needs to be organized, and saying just keep at it, keep doing it, eventually you will get there, you know, because this is like something that needs to be addressed. Maybe you have fallen in a rut, and you maybe have to reassess what you're doing every day. I would suggest maybe writing down, this is what I did, this is what I did, this is what I ate. That way, you know, you can see this. What I do for myself, because like after a while everything becomes just like normal for me, so I go and take photographs of my apartment and then look at it. So, oh my gosh, you know, I can clean it, I can redecorate it. Not that I'm a messy person, it's just like somehow you just like become too functional, and you're forgetting like about the beauty of life, or you're forgetting that, you know, not everything has to be on a coffee table and that kind of stuff. So guys, I think this month is going to be really, really good, because I really don't need to confirm anything else, because you are taking out imbalance and you are kind of like learning from it by kind of shaking off anything that hasn't been, you know, done in your best interest. And you will be walking away from anything that kind of like gives you either explosive reaction or sadness, because it's going to be, this is the door A and this is the door B. These two doors are dead ends, and you're going to have to kind of like find the door number C, and it looks like you will, and you will with flying colors. So good work, Virgo, passing with flying colors. So this was your reading for the month of May. So to get your own private reading, please contact me at www.cattarot.ca. In the meantime, please subscribe so you're invited to my live, and check my Instagram and Facebook. And yeah, if guys you're interested to kind of like really heal, because healing is really like, I mean, well done through tarot cards. My course is like really, really perfect for that. So join my tarot school. And until the next time, Virgo, I love you. All the best.